If you are a Christian, you certainly know that where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. You fully understand that. Are you a free Christian? Is there freedom in Christianity? Of course there is. Jesus would not commit himself to the Jewish religion. He says, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. He didn't say that they don't have the true religion. You know, it's like he says to the woman at the well. He says, "You don't know what you worship, but we know what we worship, because salvation originates with the Jews." So he was never criticizing the Jewish religion as it is in the scriptures, you know. But he fulfilled those scriptures. And so we follow Jesus. We don't follow the Jewish religion. Why? Because the Jewish religion was corrupted. How was it corrupted? The Bible tells you. Because you teach the commandments of men as doctrine. You know, you strain at the gnat and swallow the camel. You're not teaching the commandments of God. But you do teach the commandments of men. And men are corrupt, man. Power hungry, greedy. They want the world and they want it now. So Jesus operated outside of that system as long as he could. He remained free. He says the ruler of this world cometh and he had nothing in me. Jesus remained free. That's the point. Is there any church you can go to now, or organization, where you feel you have that freedom? The answer is no. Why? Because they're all under control of someone. And it's not the Spirit of God. But things these days are done very discreetly, you know, so that nobody sees what you're doing. They want to examine you, but they won't ever be examined by anyone, because it's a secret. And on the need-to-know basis, you can be part of an organization and not even know who rules the thing. And you dare not try to look into that or see who rules it, because that's none of your business, is what they'll tell you. But everything in this world is connected, especially in this late time. They've left nothing unturned. They've left nothing unconnected so that they can control the whole thing. What it comes down to is sort of a universal Baal worship, you know? 666, the worship of a man, man's organization, man's armies. Obey, obey, obey. Independence is not allowed. Freedom is not allowed. It's obedience, what they teach. Obedience to men, as in the mafia, as in the army, you know, stuff like that. Now, if you talk too much or you reveal too much, they may have to put you out, because nothing gets in front of that organization. For example, there's a lot of talk about, you know, Freemasonry and secret societies. Well, this, you know, as John Kerry once said, well, it's so secret, we can't tell you nothing about it, you know. And Bush said the same thing, both members of Skull and the Bones. It's so secret, but it engulfs so much. That's the thing. And see, if you have an obedient army, you only need one man to communicate to. And he sends the orders down the line, you see. So it's not like everybody has to be members of the freaking society. They're not supposed to be in the know. All they're supposed to do is obey, you see. The one man can just be communicated to. He doesn't even have to go to a meeting. All he has to do is get the word from on top. And he sends that word down the line, and everybody falls into line. Now, whenever you get a large group of people that want to be independent and don't want to follow that, well, that's when you have war, you see. It happened in World War II. Happened in World War I. Man invented wars. Those weren't the signs of Jesus' coming. They were wars invented by men, and even called World War I and World War II to make some think that was the fulfillment of Jesus' words. But they weren't. They were just political maneuverings, political ambition, political conniving. That's what Jesus meant when he says, you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. And those wars prepare the world for the total fulfillment of God's word. Now in Ukraine, those people they don't want to be part of NATO. They don't want to be part of Russia. They want to be independent. You see, but if you got to choose one or the other, the one that's their neighbor and breathing down their neck and trying to put them into slavery, we don't want that. We'll take the foreign one, the NATO, that wants to give the impression of freedom. We'd rather deal with that, because independence, they couldn't be independent. That's why NATO's supplying them with all them weapons. They want the war, you see. They want casualties. They want destruction. How bad would it look if Ukraine didn't defend itself? Well, then it would be like, hey, this is genocide and murder. You know, so they're deceived also in fighting back. You know, Jesus didn't fight back. He says, he that slaps you on the right cheek, turn the other one to him, you know. So all that take the sword shall perish by the sword. See, so they're enjoying giving them weapons. Let's have a nice war here, because they always make a lot of money off the weapons anyway, and their constituents love that. They love that cash flow, you know, even though they themselves print all the money. They have all the money they want. They control the whole universal worldwide banking system. They don't need any money, but they want it there, you know. It suits their purpose and keeps their little coffers happy. It is so diabolical. It appears to not make a bit of sense, you know. These people that are supposed to be Nazis in Ukraine, you know, why would the Biden administration support them? I thought they were against Nazis. You see, it's the facade that makes no sense. But the truth makes all the sense in the world. As far as World War I and World War II go, you can get an interesting, different perspective. Go to BitChute, look up Europa, The Last Battle. Now, this is a National Socialist propaganda film. Beware of that. See, men don't know who to look to. They don't know they look to God, but they look to a man. And Hitler was an opportunist. He hated Jews so bad. Well, he was financed by the wealthy Jews and people like the Bushes from Skull and Bones. That's where he got his power from. The word Holocaust means sacrifice. It was the plan of the rich Jews to sacrifice their lesser brethren that were living in the ghettos so that they could gain sympathy around the world. And Hitler was their servant. Jesus is their number one enemy. And I've had Jewish people tell me, well, he was a loser. He failed because his movement, you know, they killed him and everything. That's what they think, you know. So just because you're an object of hatred and they want to silence you or even kill you, doesn't mean that you're not speaking the truth, you know. In fact, it could mean just the opposite. And I mentioned Elijah and the Baal worship. Now, Elijah was a great prophet, man. He filled the temple with Baal worshipers and destroyed them all. Well, God did, actually. But God used him. See, he was you could say he was a great leader. But he ran off into the wilderness and saying he's the only one left. And they're trying to kill him. You know. Well, what happened to all the worshipers of Yahweh? God told Elijah, he says, I have 7,000 men who have not bent the knee to Baal. But what's 7,000 in a nation of 3.5 million? 1 in 500, maybe, you know. So not a lot. But see, God blessed Elijah. God was with him. And that means everything, you know. The devil wants to kill you, but God, if he wants, he can make you alive. And he can use you. But being 1 in 500 is going to make you pretty isolated in the world, you know. That's why in Isaiah it says, and the daughter of Zion is left like a hut in the wilderness, as a fort in a garden of cucumbers. That means isolation, man. Isolation. 1 in 500. And they manage to keep you separated, you know. Even in the world of today's internet and algorithms or whatever, they got it all set for one purpose. And that's to keep their organization going. And also, it's the fear of man that lays a snare, as the proverb says. The fear of man can keep people shut up, keep their mouth shut, to make them afraid to talk to anyone else. As the Bible rightly says, man is like a mist that appears for a while, then disappears. Like a vision of the night, that when you wake up in the morning, it's gone. They are nothing. But to be afraid of liars and lies, which are nothing. Amazing the lack of faith among men. Okay, to finish up here, I want to give a quote by Woodrow Wilson, which he made in the year 1913. So long ago, so you can imagine it's only greater strength right now. He said, there is a power somewhere so organized, so subtle, so watchful, so interlocked, so complete, so pervasive, that they better not speak of above their breath when they speak in condemnation of it. See, this is the spirit of Satan, the opposing spirit that wants to destroy the Spirit of God from the earth. But where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. But the Bible speaks about those who are quiet in the land, the ones who will love peace. And we take our advice from our Master Jesus Christ. He says, be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. We're not trying to change history. We're not trying to start a revolution. What God has written will come true. Will come to pass. All of it. So we're headed towards the end. And there's a lot of people they think they can stop that. You know, change the course of history. Or they pretend that that's what they're trying to do. But they can't, and they won't. God's word will come true. So we do the best we can, and we try to stay happy and have good fruitage in our lives. And whatever things we have to suffer, we know it's God's providence, and he's dealing with us as his own children. But all this lies and deceptions goes on. It's almost comical. It's just ridiculous. It's just a theater, and it's a joke. Like we hear Joe Biden's being investigated for having top secret documents. No, he's not supposed to know. He's the president of the United States, and there's secrets that they don't want him to know. So really, who is the president? See, that's how ridiculous this whole stuff is. And the whole thing is a big joke, and it's really sad, man. It's not funny. Don't pay any attention to it. It's all going to come to an end.